So yesterday I had my fantasy football draft. Shout out to anybody that follows my Instagram who saw my picks. But rounds 1 and 2, I got Neighbors and I got Amon-Ra St. Brown. So two really good wide receivers in the first two rounds, especially when I was drafting number 7 in a 12-team league. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Unfortunately, I had to draft a lot of running backs that are quite questionable, just in the sort of middle of the pack, because I didn't go for a running back very early on. Kind of a risky move, and really my overall team is kind of mid. It's kind of like meh. I even say it's perhaps even lower end mid, if certain rookies and certain stars don't break out. All this is to say that when it comes to something like fantasy football, I'm not particularly good. And in fact, when it comes to most things in life, I kind of suck. For me, the thing that kind of keeps me going back to the keyboard, at least on the days I don't feel like it, the days where I'm not really inspired, is just recognizing that your zone of genius, my zone of genius is my writing. It's like the one of the few things in life that I'm actually pretty good at. And in life, it can be very, very discouraging and very hard on your mental health if you kind of go through it focusing on things that you're not good at. If you go through kind of dabbling in a bunch of different areas, if you go through not really picking like one maybe crucial area, one crucial skill that you really, really love and not honing it, it can be very discouraging because most likely in life, you are going to be very terrible at a lot of things. In fact, most things. And social media has only made this worse because what social media does, it takes the 1% of each skill and it just absolutely shines it, right? They absolutely glorify it. My God, I work in fitness, right, for my day job. The physiques you see on on Instagram online right now are phenomenal. Like those are like the 1% of genetics, and obviously drug use plays a big factor too. But that is like the 1% of the skill level. When it comes to fitness is being shown on Instagram. And so if you're just kind of like average, right, you're completely outshined on there. And unfortunately, it's everything. Everything today is stratified. It's almost like the Pareto principle, the idea, the 80-20 rule and all that stuff. It's almost like that's been extrapolated to where like 1% generates like 99% of the content because we just desire to see this elite level performance everywhere. And it's almost expected as a viewer to see that. Nobody anymore cares about the average, about the mid level work anymore. You have to be really freaking good at whatever you do. And so in today's world, it can be very, very discouraging to kind of go around and not having a certain skill that you're trying to hone. It can, because you're consistently, if you're just dabbling, if you're just kind of moseying about through different activities and hobbies, you're never going to be as good as someone who dedicates a little bit of time to it consistently. This is why, kind of staying within that zone of genius is so important. That's why for me, I stick with the writing because I know that, like there's a lot of things like I can't compete, but damn it, I will put my writing up against almost anybody today. That's how much I believe it. That's how confident I am in my work. And it's a good feeling to think that about something in life, about that one thing in life. To have at least enough confidence to go, you know what, I'm pretty damn good at this thing. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of time, and there's a negative side to it. There's a paranoia. There's an element of I need to be consistently writing to keep my skill up, to keep this habit up, because if I don't, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to be a nothing and a nobody. That sort of negativity can creep up there, and going to the keyboard every day based on negative ideas, just out of this paranoia, out of just trying to avoid some sort of made up punishment in your head, is never healthy or good. You always want to view it from the positive. You always want to approach it from the idea of, well, I'm going to the keyboard today because I get the opportunity to create really beautiful work. But the negativity is going to creep up in there. It's going to come. But it beats the alternative. For me, it's always, to have at least something, have some sort of zone of genius and to craft every day, that beats so much of the idea of just not being good at really anything. It's scary. It sucks. And it's a miserable existence when you can't laugh off most of the things in life. Lord, if I took fantasy football all that seriously, I'd be miserable right now because of this team. Well, because my focus in life, when it comes to skills, is primarily just in my writing, I can sort of go about this idea of, well, you know what, fantasy football, it'll be what it is. Maybe I'll do well, maybe I won't, whatever, who cares, it's superfluous. Now let's focus on the writing. Now let's focus on trying to make some really good, masterful work. And for me, that's it. That's often what keeps me here, is the idea of just wanting to stay in that zone of genius. Because in that zone, there's a comfort, there's a happiness that's very, very hard to reproduce.